So finally we have the amazing Jiz Lee, who we're super lucky to have tonight. And Jiz Lee is a genderqueer porn star, performer, writer, artist, visionary, creator of the Karma Pervs pay site, which benefits a number of sex-positive and queer and kink-friendly nonprofit organizations. And Jiz also runs a personal blog about sex work as a medium for social activism at jizlee.com. You know, actually, being a genderqueer porn star is sort of interesting. Like, several of Jiz Lee's genders only exist either in the distant past, like hundreds of millions of years ago during the era when dinosaurs sort of roamed the earth, or like in the distant future when the human race is actually extinct and, you know, highly evolved cyber tarantulas have replaced us as the dominant species, and Jiz Lee's consciousness will exist as sort of an artificial intelligence riding on the back of one of them. But there's Jiz Lee actually went on a vision quest at one point to try and figure out how to be a porn star in a non-gender normative fashion and sort of deal with the commodification of gendered bodies, and sort of went into the desert and like communed with cactus lap dancers, which is actually nicer than it sounds, and had like a whole encounter with you know, different sort of succulents, yeah, that's exactly the word I was looking for, thank you. I should just like point at you whenever I get lost. And, you know, basically make contact with these sort of ninth dimensional entities who had like a very different view of gender and sexuality, and realized that like actually gender and sexuality are both entirely contextual. And these ninth dimensional entities, their sexuality was sort of removed from bodies and was much more about your favorite color, and like having sex with someone whose favorite color was opposite yours on the color wheel. And that was like their gendered sexuality, except that their color wheel had like, was basically like a Mobius strip with an infinite number of colors on it, many of which are like invisible to human eyes, so it got really confusing, and actually, you know, none of us can have sex with the ninth dimensional entities. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. And, you know, and then encountered these like one-dimensional entities where their sex life was basically dots and dashes. And in fact, this sort of led to the ninth dimensional entities and one-dimensional entities becoming aware of each other for the first time, and they had sort of a weird conflict where they sort of, you know, because their sexualities and their ways of expressing their gender were so different, they got into like a kind of almost a holy war, and Jiz Lee had to step in and broker a peace. And how do you stop like ninth dimensional entities and one dimensional entities from like fighting amongst themselves? And pretty much the only way to bridge the conflict was with porn, because porn brings everybody together. And she sort of got them collaborating on porn together and like creating porn that was both about colors and about dots and dashes, and that could like express, you know, their sexuality in a healthy, you know, way that allowed for a variety of like multi-dimensional gender expressions. And the only question then was like, who was going to be the audience for this porn once it was completed? Because, you know, it's like a Heisenberg, or it's like the sort of the Heisenberg principle of porn, that there has to be an observer, I guess. It's like the inverse Heisenberg principle, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so basically the observer ended up being us, and that, you know, whether you know it or not, we are all actually constantly viewing the porn created by those one-dimensional and ninth-dimensional entities. And you can pretty much thank Jiz Lee for that. If you see like weird flickerings at the corner of your eye, or like strange colors that you can't quite identify, that's all them. And so, you know, so we owe her a great deal of thanks, because she averted a war and created a whole new form of porn that we're all constantly enjoying. So please welcome Jiz Lee.